A lot is being made of F1's trip to Las Vegas, and there are of course several reasons for this. However, you would think that with the way that this event is being promoted, that the Las Vegas Grand Prix hasn't ever existed before, and I'm not just talking about the Caesars Palace Grand Prix either. But back in 2007, top-level single-seater racing made its own impact on one of the world's greatest tourist destinations. So welcome to episode 11,057 of Street Track Failures, where today we're taking a look at the Las Vegas street circuit used by Champ Car for just 1 year. It included a dozen plus 1 turns, with 9 going to the left and 4 to the right, with a circuit length of 2.4 miles / 3.9 kilometers in length. Firstly, let's start with actually quite a unique aspect. Quite often in racing you'll see some boards being displayed by team personnel on the side of the track to let drivers know of distances between cars ahead of them or behind them. Those boards are usually displayed by the pit lane side, but not here. No, for whatever reason the boards were displayed on the start-finish straight on the grandstand side. Just one of this track's many interesting quirks. However, even before you technically reach the first turn, if you get offline it's very easy to hit the wall on this sharp left kink. That being said though, once you pass that kink under the bridge, you get to the first proper turn, which is a 90-degree left-hander. Oh no, please don't be one of those tracks again. To be fair though, this is quite an interesting one given the dimensions. Its large amount of available track width mean that passing is very plausible, which is obviously a good thing, right? The unique thing about it though is that whilst there is a huge amount of circuit space here, you don't really end up using all that much of it, given the added time you have for getting closer to the outside wall. So as 90-degree corners go, I'd certainly rate it up there as one of the better ones. Past the first turn and the circuit width that was there quickly fades away as you go down an awesome, fast sweeping right-hander, with the elevation decreasing, the track surface briefly changing, and going through a tunnel, before climbing back up again for another 90-degree left-hander, which has the added complexion of an almost blind apex. However, it was possible for pile-ups to occur at this section. It's then onto a really long straight, one of the longest on the circuit, until you get hard onto the brakes for a 90-degree right-hander, which is somewhat more of a conventional right-angle corner this time round. It's then a short burst of acceleration to turn 5, a 90-degree right-hander. Another quick burst of acceleration later, and it's onto a 90-degree left-hander again. Around 50 meters later, it's another 90-degree left-hander, before arriving at turn 8, another 90-degree right-hander. Someone type in the comment section how many times I say 90-degree in this video. Exiting turn 8, you ignore what the road markings say, and go round turn 9, a right-angled left-hander. I'm trying to think of slightly more creative ways to describe these corners, although this section too was susceptible to a pile-up. After turn 9 is quite a bumpy section of track, before going round what is unmistakably a 90-degree left-hander. But you'll perhaps be glad to hear that that's the last time we'll have to talk about those sorts of bends on this track. It's then onto a fairly long straight before you're met with one of the track's other quirks, a 3-tiered right-left-right chicane, which at racing speed was quite fast by chicane standards, perhaps comparable to the one you would see on the Baltimore street circuit, except the Las Vegas one was faster and had more space available if a mistake was made. Also, the curbs didn't seem quite as violent as the ones in Baltimore, not to say though that they wouldn't bite if hit in certain ways. Furthermore, on upcoming restarts, bottlenecks would develop at the tail of the field. Immediately after this section, however, is yet another really interesting quirk about this circuit. If you wanted to go round the rest of the track to the start-finish line, then just go on the left-hand side of this tunnel. If you needed to pit though, it was off to the right-hand side of the tunnel. I mean, actually by pit lane standards, it's a pretty good one and also quite a normal one. It goes by the side of the track, like most other conventional race circuits, it has a great amount of width to avoid congestion, and it flows back onto the live racetrack fantastically. It's just that getting there in the first place is not something that I can recall seeing on any other race circuit. Speaking of the live racetrack, to round off the lap is perhaps the most satisfying corner on this track. Once you've come out of the tunnel and into the sunlight, you're instantly met with a brilliant, fast, narrow, uphill, double-apexed left-hand sweeper. I can say with a reasonable degree of confidence that there is no other racecourse in the world that has this sort of corner immediately following a tunnel. And the even better part is that it gives the great opportunity for drivers to try and slipstream the car ahead of them and make a move into turn 1. Dare I say it? It might actually be one of my favourite street track corners that I've so far covered in this series. Yet with that, you've completed a lap of the Las Vegas Street Circuit. But how did it end? Well, this event was done in the latter years of Champ Car, and at the time was seen as a really important event for the series, to try and get some more prominence. And it did seem to have an impact. On the whole, drivers really liked the circuit, and quite a lot of spectators were happy with what they saw as well, especially I'd imagine anyone who was sitting on this grandstand here at the chicane. Although there were some issues logistically, such as a bridge to help spectators from one side of the track to the other not being built. For me though, the biggest surprise was the crowd size, which at a rough estimate of 40,000 does seem to be on the low side. Ultimately though, this event would not continue because Champ Car and IndyCar merged back together at the start of 2008, and the race at Las Vegas wasn't continued for that year. Yet I reckon though that had the merger not have happened and Champ Car still existed, the Las Vegas Grand Prix could have continued way longer than the 1 year it ended up having, and perhaps could have got even more popular the longer it went on. Could it even have gone on so long that the upcoming F1 event wouldn't have been a thing at all? That's something we'll never know the answer to. But hey, food for thought though. That however is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. What are your thoughts on this circuit? Would you like to have seen it carry on further? Or was even just the 1 year it took place 1 year too many for your liking? Say down in the comment section below, along with any other street tracks you'd like to see featured in this series. Plus, if you did enjoy this video, then I would be massively appreciative if you did hit the like and subscribe buttons. However, until the next video, be kind to each other and enjoy the rest of your day.